What do you value most of all? Last week, my yoga teacher asked us this question as an intention at the very beginning of our class, and she kept bringing us back to this question throughout the entire hour that we were together. And it was very interesting to me that as the question came up, I know that I value certain things, like obviously I value self-confidence. That's definitely one of those things that I value. For me personally, I value like my uniqueness and my creativity. I would say that a lot of us can tend to have the same like overarching values, like valuing family or valuing community, right? Like these big overarching concepts. But I wanted to and encourage you to, as I was going through what I value most of all, getting these like ideas and concepts flowing in that I really wanted to be able to break down into a word or a phrase or a sentence that like encompassed all of it, right? I value time freedom. I know a lot of you do too. I value creativity and uniqueness and expression, which I'm sure is no surprise to you coming from the woman with purple hair. I value diversity and community. I value authenticity. I want that realness. I value making money at my job, and I value that my job gives to others. I love togetherness and intellect and wit. And I understand that all of these are values, but they're also these big concepts, right? So what does it mean? And how can we get specific about our values? And this week specifically, I've been thinking, because a lot of us have been spending more time on social media, how our life values move into social media values, which allow us to continue building community that's supportive around you, right? So it came down to two things for me. I just read you my list of values, but when I started to dig really, really deep into it, what I value most of all is independence and individuality. Now, I'm not saying that you can't experience these things if you're not single or you have a family or, all those things, right? I 100% believe that a strong community is built on diversity and independence and individuality. That that all of us being our individual selves collectively makes a strong community. And I believe in this togetherness. I want all of us to feel stronger and more confident so that we can continue to create this diverse and eclectic community that is strong and can get through anything, right? I know that building a business on social media feels a little bit different now, right? If you've been building your business on social media, you're on social media. The difference now is that more people are on social media than just us business builders. And that can be really interesting, right? Like, what I was thinking about it this week is like, are we able to uphold our values, what we value most of all, with this influx of people now using social media more regularly, this increase of presence and response. And a lot of the response right now isn't necessarily the most positive, right? People have conflicting ideas. People have a lot more time to spend in the comments and argue. And now that there's more of a presence with these people, we're seeing these people that we follow or we have as friends on our list, and we're like, is this somebody that I really want to have around anymore, right? It became really interesting to me because I wonder sometimes if people really take the time. I had one of my very first business coaches actually say to me, you get to decide what your personal values are, but you also get to decide what your business values are. And they do not have to be the same. They can, but you get to think of your business as its own entity also, right? And are we showing up on social media with our personal values and our business values? And what does that look like when they kind of don't, right? So I would say I've gotten a bit of flack because one of my values is not love. And in fact, love is not even in the top 10 of my values. And that sounds kind of weird. Everyone is always, it feels weird to other people, but to me it makes sense, right? I know that I value respect more than I value love. But I would say that I consider respect to be a sign of love, if that makes sense in a different way, right? But we shouldn't make people feel bad about their values unless they're harmful, right? Just because love isn't on the top of my list doesn't mean that I am like a bad person or I don't have good values, right? I believe that independence and individuality are both very positive things, and that they contribute to our community. And if I can help other people feel a sense of independence and individuality, that I am positively contributing to my community, right? So I wanted to bring this up to help us think about it, because as we continue to stay online, and while we continue to stay in place, that these values that we have can be ever present in what we're sharing. And if we continue sharing it, not only through our personal pages, but also through our business pages, that we will attract people that align with our values, therefore building community on social media. I believe that before the stay in place happened for a lot of us, where a lot of us are now at home, working from home, or trying to find work from home, we're stuck inside, that we didn't have as much of an opportunity to build community online. Therefore, the people that we had as accounts that we followed, or friends that we had, we didn't really get to see a lot of them because they weren't online as much, right? It is okay to say that this account or this person or this organization, whatever your social media is, if you feel like they are no longer aligning with your values, that you can release them, right? Now, that being said, I also want to encourage you to look at what other people's values are, because we can also learn from other people's values. I don't think that everybody is going to have the individual or the values of individuality and independence, right? But I can learn from someone else whose values are like authenticity and love, let's say, right? If they value love and they value genuine authenticity, then like I obviously will learn something from them. I would love to connect with them, right? There are these things that we can learn from each other, but don't feel stuck. You know, like don't feel like you have to be friends with someone or you have to keep following someone. It's okay to make your social media community as safe and supportive as a real life community. You have permission to do that. I would say that one of the easiest ways to figure out what that community is by knowing what your values are and knowing what the values of your company, whether it's a company or a friend or whatever it is that you're following, like what their values are too. Most of us will post our content from that place, so you can see what it is. But know that you have permission to recreate your community, continue building your business, continue building your networking groups, like continue doing it. It's beautiful. And now that we have more people online, it's an opportunity for us as people who build their businesses online to be leaders of a positive shift in using this tool. So I would love to hear what your values are. What do you value most of all? Drop it in the comments below. Leave me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Write it in the comments on Facebook and Instagram if it's your personal values or your business values. And if you've never thought of your business having its own values, it's really fun to think about that. So maybe a little exercise for you to do in the future. I hope everybody's out there staying safe, and I will see you in my next video.